Well, in our earlier video, we have seen the basic concepts of Python function. Now, in this video, we will look at some Python parameters and arguments. So, let's look at some example here. Suppose if you wanted to create a program that multiplies two numbers, we could do something like this. Let me use a keyword called definition and wanted to write a variable called numbers multiply numbers, right? I can give a variable like this. It's not a variable, I just wanted to create a function. Okay, I wanted to use two things here, like we call it as a parameters when we are using under a function. When we are defining, we call let us call a number one as the first parameter and wanted to give the other parameter as a number two, right? And then I just wanted to put a colon to shift into the next line. This time I just wanted to use a variable called answer, a little algorithm inside the function, saying that number I just wanted to multiply those parameters which I have defined in the function, right? Number one multiplied by number let me write here, number two, right? Now I just wanted to go to the next line and say print answer. So now what do you think I'll get when I run here? I get nothing because I haven't called anything yet. Because to call the function, I mean to get the output, I need to call the function. So this time I just wanted to write the function called multiply numbers and put two. Earlier we have called these as parameters, right? Now when we are calling it, we call it as arguments. Let me just write two arguments here. Let me just say 5 and 10. What do you think I'll get as an output when I execute here? I get 50 because we have already defined here. You see it in our program, right? Now we don't have to write every time the program. That's the beauty of the functions actually. So if we wanted to change the variables in our next line, we can just directly call multiply numbers and say this time I just wanted to give 15 and 2, and when I execute it I'll just get 30 because 15 into 2 is 30. It is already defined in the function, so I'm just calling the function name and putting mm, two arguments in it, right? Now let us understand a little bit deep. I just wanted to put once again here. First, we have defined a function called multiply numbers, right? And the parameters in the function are number one and number two. And we define these within the brackets, which is where the parameter list is defined. Next, we declare the Python variable um, called answer, right, which multiplies the values of number one and number two. Then we print a statement to the console with a full mathematical sum, right? Writing, writing out like followed by the answer to the math problem. Well, we have specified the required arguments here. This is because we have to set no default value for each argument. We must specify a number of arguments equal to the parameters list, otherwise Python interpreter will get an error. It will just return an error, right? Now, towards the end of the program, we call our multiply numbers functions twice. First, we have specified like 5 and 10, and our program multiplies these values together to calculate 50, and then our program prints 5 and to 10, which is 50. All right, next we have specified the arguments like 15 and 2, which our program multiplies um, you know 30, right, to the console. So that's how it generally executes. By default, the order of the arguments you pass in the function, right, pass it in the function, is the order in which they were processed by our program. Now when we run this multiply numbers 5 10, the value of the number 1 becomes 5 and the value of number 2 becomes 10, right? That's how the same thing for the next one, like number 1 will become 15 and number 2 will become 2, right? We'll talk about this how to override this in the keyword argument section. We will see that some more things in our next video. All right,